Are you struggling to remember things, feeling like you can't get enough done, and finding yourself dragging throughout the day? Well, I have some good news for you. You can fix your brain and get rid of that dense brain fog. Find out how today on The Healthy View. Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Lutan. I'm here with my fabulous and feisty co-hosts, Andrew Beeman and Michelle Fenninghaus. We are all expert health coaches who have collectively helped thousands of people around the world get happier and healthier while staying sane and having fun. Today, we're talking about fixing our brains. And joining us shortly will be Dr. Tom OBrien, who's written a fabulous book on this topic. There's so many factors that can impact our brain and lead to brain fog, which can lead to us forgetting where we parked our car, to feeling like we're dragging and unproductive all the time. Can you relate? I thought so. Our brains, just like the rest of our bodies, are highly impacted by everything we put into our bodies and everything around us. Our world is filled with toxins, pollutions, and chemicals, and everything from our food to our nail polish,
Your
to house
lipstick.
cleaners, the rest of our makeup, plastic containers, even our water. And all of these things are impacting our brain health. But where do we begin to start making positive changes so we can remember where we left the darn keys? Andrea, I think we're ready to learn from our amazing guest today. Take it away.
Well, of course. Today we have Dr. Tom OBrien. He is an internationally recognized speaker focusing on food sensitivities, environmental toxins, and the development of autoimmune diseases. In 2016, Dr. OBrien released Betrayal, the autoimmune disease solution they're not telling you. An investigation into why our immune system, designed to protect us, begins attacking our own tissue. Currently, over 500,000 people worldwide have watched that docuseries. Dr. OBrien is also considered a Sherlock Holmes for chronic disease and metabolic disorders, teaching that the underlying mechanisms that trigger the development of chronic disease are the key to health. He holds teaching faculty positions with the Institute of Functional Medicine and the National University of Health Sciences. His groundbreaking book, The Autoimmune Fix, won the National Book Award. That book outlines the step-by-step development of degenerative diseases and gives the tools to identify diseases years before the symptoms are obvious. Dr. OBrien, just in case you haven't had enough, he's got more. There's more going. He's also the founder of the Doctor.com and the visionary behind the Gluten Summit, A Grain of Truth, which brings together 29 of the world's experts on the gluten connection to diseases, disorders, and a wide range of symptoms. No matter what your current brain health state may be, you can fix your brain, which is the title of your newest book. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you can fix your brain. It enables and empowers you to take concrete steps that will make an immediate difference in your brain's vitality, clarity, and energy. It's a step-by-step approach to better cognitive function, being selective about what's on your fork, what's in your environment, and how to take care of yourself. And he's going to share some of that wisdom with us today. Welcome to The Healthy View. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure.
Our hot topic today is about improving memory, productivity, and sleep. So we know we got the right guy on. You're an autoimmunity expert. Is there an actual connection between the inflammatory autoimmune conditions and brain health?
Oh, there is. There's more than a connection. It's a mechanism. Everyone knows someone that had a heart attack and survived and got scared, so changed their diet, started exercising, and they look great. They look better than they've looked in years. Most of us know someone diagnosed with cancer who went through the protocols, whatever they chose to do. It's in remission and they feel good and they're functioning well. No one knows anyone diagnosed with a brain deterioration disease who's doing well. And it terrifies us, so we avoid the topic. But here's the statistics. The Alzheimer's Association came out a few months ago with the new statistic. 1 out of 3 elders dies of dementia in the US today. That means on this call right now, 1 out of 4 of us is going to die of dementia. That's how prevalent it is. And we have to wake up. There's no longer, well, if I live a good life and I eat mostly good food, I'm going to be okay. No, that won't cut it anymore. You really have to understand what's going on. And it's an overwhelming topic. It's really overwhelming. You know, like we made a joke about the nail polish, but it's true. You put nail polish on, and within 3 to 5 minutes, the phthalates in the nail polish are in your bloodstream within 3 to 5 minutes. And these phthalates, and there's no study anywhere that says the amount of phthalates that leach into your blood from applying nail polish is toxic to humans. There's no study on that. But this stuff is accumulative. So give me 30, 40 years of these minor amounts of toxins that your body doesn't have the tools to detox and get rid of, and 30 or 40 years of this subtle accumulation, now you got a huge problem. And I'll give you one more example of this, and then we'll go to whatever your questions are. They did a study, they published it in 2016, 346 pregnant women collected urine samples in the 8th month of pregnancy, and they measured the phthalate levels. Now, phthalates are a category of chemicals called plasticizers. They're used to mold plastic, and there's hundreds of them. And they measured 5 phthalates in the urine of these 346 women. They categorized the urine test results into quartiles, the lowest quartile, the next quartile, the third quartile, and the highest quartile. They followed the offspring of these pregnant women for 7 years. And at 7 years old, they did IQ tests on all these kids. What did they find? Every child, not most of them, every child whose mother was in the highest quartile of phthalates in urine during pregnancy, compared to the children whose mothers were in the lowest quartile of phthalates in urine in pregnancy, every child in the highest quartile, their IQs were 7 points lower than the kids in the lowest quartile of phthalates. 7 points. 1 point is noticeable. 7 points is the difference between a child working really hard, getting straight A's, and a child working really hard and getting straight C's. They just don't have the tools because their brains didn't develop properly, because phthalates are neurotoxins. And when you read this book and you understand these concepts and you learn that plastic storage containers in your kitchen leaches plasticizers into your food, you put leftover chicken in there and put it in the refrigerator, the next day the chicken's got phthalates. But there's no study that says the amount of phthalates from the plastic containers that leach into the food is toxic to humans. And that's how they get away with this. But it's the accumulation of it over 20, 30, 40 years that's the problem. So we all have to wake up to this. And it's such an overwhelming topic. I mean, for me, and I'm a geek. I just read studies all the time, and I love reading studies, right? And that's fine. But for the general person that doesn't read studies like that, you don't know what to do. That's why the subtitle of this book is just 1 hour a week to the best memory, productivity, and sleep you've ever had. It's not a cutesy title. It's the only path to success in changing the direction of your health and your children's health. And what does it mean? Every Tuesday night after dinner, every Sunday morning after services, whenever it is, but every week, you allocate 1 hour. I'm going to learn a little more of how to protect myself and my family from this toxic world we live in. Every week, without exception, 1 hour. And the result will be 6 months from now, you've got this down. You've really got it down. Yes.
Hey, Dr. Tom, you just said a second ago something about our bodies don't have the tools to detoxify from this junk.
Correct.
And I know that there are people out there who will just scream and say, that's nonsense. Our bodies are built to detoxify. Don't listen to anybody.
What are our bodies built to detoxify? Our bodies are built to detoxify lipopolysaccharides and the foods that we find on planet Earth. You have the exact same body as your ancestor thousands of years ago. Exact same body. And your immune system designed to protect you. What did our ancestors have to fight? Bugs, parasites, viruses, molds, fungus, and bacteria. Not polysorbate 80 or red dye number 42. We don't have the tools to break down phthalates. So what happens is the brain says, get this stuff off the highway. You know, your bloodstream's just a highway. Lots of traffic all bouncing around in there. There's no lanes of traffic. It's going the same way, but it's all bouncing around. But the brain says, get this stuff away from me. So it gets thrown into storage. And what are the storage cells in the body? Your fat cells. So how come people eat well, count calories, and can't lose weight? Because your immune system protecting you is going to keep those toxins in the fat cells. So we are designed to detoxify the foods and the bugs and the parasites, a little bit of mold once in a while. That's what we're designed to detoxify, not the chemicals that we're exposed to.
So I have a question for you. So when someone goes on a cleanse, right, and they do like, a fat flush or something like that, does that bring the toxins back into the bloodstream, and then where do they go from there?
Yeah, it brings it into the lymphatic system first. The lymphatic system is the garbage collector in between the cells. It's like the garbage trucks have to go down the side streets. That's the lymphatic system. And then it dumps into the colon just after the ileocecal valve. So that's where a majority of the toxins go when they're eliminated from your cells. But also many of them get into the bloodstream, and the kidneys filter that as best as they can and get rid of it. And what they can't get rid of stays in circulation, and it can be embedded back into the body again. That's why when you're doing a detox program of one type or another, you have to be aware to help mobilizing this stuff and then eliminating this stuff. You have to have a little attention on eliminating these toxins that you're mobilizing.
Okay, so with this, because we're in this toxic environment, like there's no denying it. I mean, some people do deny it. I don't know how well their brain is working if they're still denying it. But so we live in this toxic environment. So what can we do? Like, what are some of the foods that we can use to protect our brain, to help it to function better in amongst all of this stuff that we are exposed to?
Yeah, thanks. That's a good question. The first and most important thing is to stop the exposure as best as you can. That's what's critically important. We are a pharmaceutical trained society, and we think about what can I eat that'll get rid of this problem, or what pill can I take that'll get rid of this problem, whether it's a pharmaceutical or nutrition. We're trained to think that way. And that's an important concept. But the primary concept is stop throwing gasoline on the fire. Reduce the exposures. That's got to be the primary place that we begin, is learning, where am I being exposed? Where's my child being exposed to all this stuff? Everyone, there's two things you do before you go to sleep at night, for everyone. If you use a dishwasher in your house, you turn the dishwasher on when everybody's going to bed. Why? Because it's one of the most toxic fumes in your kitchen is the high temperature water acting with those detergents, because that's not an airtight container and you can't smell them. They make sure that you can't smell them, but it comes out into the kitchen environment. You're breathing these toxic chemicals. So if you use a dishwasher, you turn it on after everybody's gone to bed. So last thing you do, turn on the dishwasher, turn off the light in the kitchen, and then turn off the Wi-Fi. Those are just a couple of things that you have to do. And there's like checklists, and it's overwhelming. So what's most important in my mind, if I can get a message across to your listeners, is understand that you need education. You need education that no one's giving you comprehensively. We've got a brain masterclass that's got 74 videos in it, and you just watch them at your own pace. And it's all about the brain and what are the toxins you're exposed to and how do you get rid of them. But if you want a couple of pearls, well, the first one and the most important one for detoxing, you need to be hydrated. What does that mean? A half ounce of water per pound body weight. So if you weigh 140, that's 70 ounces of water a day. It's more than a gallon. Oh my God, I'll be peeing all day. That's the idea. You got to get this stuff out of you, right? But it's a half ounce of water per pound body weight. That's critically and most important. Next, in my mind, most important or very important is berries. Having lots of berries because of the flavonoids and the antioxidants and the polyphenols in berries that bind and escort a lot of these toxins out of your system. I mean, we know that 1 cup of blueberries a day, organic, 1 cup of blueberries a day, every day for 3 years, your brain's functioning as well as it was 13 years ago. So you reverse cognitive decline of up to 13 years by 1 cup of blueberries a day for 3 years. So, there's little pearls like that. We need to eat berries every day. Well, we don't have berries in the winter up here. Well, you buy them frozen. You buy organic frozen berries. That's what I do. I buy 10 bags at a time of Stedman's frozen organic blueberries. They're in my freezer, and when I want something, a treat at night, I say, oh yeah, I'll have some blueberries. I just throw them in a glass, bowl, and with a spoon, or I just pick them with my fingers. You get a little blue dye on your fingers, and all that. It's like Rosanna Dana, right? You get a little.
Do you remember Willy Wonka and the Did the kid turn into a big
Veruca salt, I think, wasn't it?
But was it organic?
Yes.
Right. Well, it wasn't. That's why the kid exploded.
Yeah.
But you have to laugh about this stuff a little bit so that it's easier to take it in. But it's overwhelming. It's really scary. 1 out of 3 adults dies. Elders. 1 of 3 elders dies of dementia in the U.S. today. Not in the future. Today. 1 child in 2 is estimated within the next 10 years to be on the autism spectrum. 1 in 2.
50% of the population.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And we have to wake up. This is not going to get better. There's no technology to fix this. There is no technology out. Where is it? I just had this realization. Where is it?
Brain. Put the brain in.
The brain fog thing.
Yeah, the brain fog. No, I'm prepared. Here it is. That great resource of authentic information that we can count on. USA Today.
All right.
The front page of USA Today yesterday. Look at this.
Can't really see it.
Oh, it
Trump?
says
Trump water?
No, I'm sorry. Not Trump.
What?
No, never mind. It's the wrong
Wrong paper.
It's the wrong USA Today. I don't know where the one is.
I was going to say, let's not get too political here.
It was
Total
such a good
nonsense
point.
on the front page. We got it.
Right. Oh, here it is. It was in my computer bag. USA Today yesterday. Look what that says.
Hard for me to read.
Level
I saw
highest
this in the news.
CO2 level highest in human history.
CO2, carbon
84
dioxide,
degrees.
is the highest in 800,000 years. Now, it's at 415 parts per million. That's not a mistake. That is caused by human activity, human intervention. It's called anthropogenic, great geek word, and it means caused by human involvement.
Can we talk a little bit about supplements? There's all this talk about how fish oil is so good for the brain. I've heard things about RNA and what else? What do you think is worth it and what's not?
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, there's a lot of them that are very helpful. Fish oils are essential. They're a primary component. The way your brain cells work is like a lazy Susan. And if, in sometimes Chinese restaurants, big tables, they've got that thing in the center that swings around. Or I'm going to date myself, but when you used to go to the doctor, you go in the bathroom to leave a urine sample, you put it in the wall, and then there's a thing that swings around to the next room where the nurse is that runs the tests on it. That's a lazy Susan. Your brain cells communicate by lazy Susans. So one brain cell makes some chemicals which go through the lazy Susan, the membrane of the cell, into the next brain cell. Those chemicals are tweaked a little bit, modified a little bit. That goes to the next brain cell, tweaked a little bit, modified. And that's how the electrical impulse generates that carries our thoughts and our process, our thinking process. When you don't have enough of the right kind of fats that make up the membranes of your cells, your lazy Susans get rusty. They don't turn very easily. So if your brain cells are made up of French fry fat instead of fish oil fat, they're rusty. That's called transformed fatty acids. And if you build your house out of straw instead of brick, because there's no brick available, you're built out of straw. Your brain cells are built out of straw. They're built out of French fries. You have a French fry brain. And when you have a French fry brain, those brain cells don't communicate very well. That's why you look at the studies, when you give kids fish oils, within, I don't remember if it was 3 or 6 months, their IQs go up just by giving them fish oils with no other changes. Wow. So I think the first and the most important supplement would be fish oils. but most of us need extra fish oils. After that, there's a whole litany of things. Alpha lipoic acid, garlic, turmeric, N-acetylcysteine is excellent for the brain. But there's a product which I take all the time. It's called fog cutter. Fog cutter are adaptogenic herbs. There's, I think it's 13 adaptogenic herbs in here, like acai, jiaolin, reishi, schisandra, American ginseng, and they're all brain enhancing formulas. So you take a couple of hits of this, and within a few minutes, it's like the dimmer switch just went up a little bit brighter, and your brain's working a little bit more.
I like that too.
Yeah, Dr. Tom, we got a question for you over here on Facebook. What I hear you saying overall is that to get better memory, better productivity, better sleep, better brain health in general, we need to get rid of these toxins. We got to stop the toxic load. And Aurelia is saying if she's doing the Whole30, so that would be a form of detoxing, I suppose. She says, what do I need to do to take care of facilitating eliminating toxins?
Really good question. You have to find out where's the problem in your brain, because if not, you're shotgunning. And shotgunning is helpful, like drink the right amount of water and take fish oils. That's shotgunning. But when you're wanting to be therapeutic, you have to find out, what do I have to focus on? And how do you do that? Mrs. Patient, your immune system is the armed forces in your body. It's there to protect you. There's an Army, a Navy, an Air Force, a Marines, a Coast Guard, IGA, IgG, IgE, IgM. So you do the blood test to look to see, how is my brain protecting me right now? How is my immune system protecting my brain? And the test is called the Neural Zoomer Plus. Neural Zoomer Plus. It looks at 46 different markers of inflammation in the brain. And when you identify inflammation in your brain, that then is a biomarker, says, okay, this is my starting point. This is not good, but this is where I'm starting, okay? Then it motivates you to explore, why is this happening to me? Why do I have elevated antibodies to myelin, which is the mechanism that causes MS? Why do I have elevated antibodies to myelin? Well, we know 22% of everyone that has a sensitivity to wheat has elevated antibodies to myelin. 22% of them. It's called molecular mimicry. And the antibodies attacking the wheat will go after the myelin in genetically sensitive people. Or it could be dairy. Dairy also molecular mimicry with myelin. So you can get myelin antibodies. If you have dairy antibodies elevated, you easily can have myelin antibodies elevated, killing off your nerve, the saran wrap around your nerves, which is what myelin is.
So would our doctor know, if we went to our doctor and said, I want to have this test, are they going to go, I never heard of it, go away?
If they've read this book, they know about it.
Well, if they haven't read the book and we give them the book, I'm just wondering for listeners out there who want to get this test, where would they go to get this, and who would be able to understand the results for them?
Yeah, you go to my website, thedr.com, and you download the information on the test, and you take it to your doctor and say, would you order this test for me? And if they say no, then you find a functional medicine practitioner in your area. You go to functionalmedicine.org and look for a certified functional medicine practitioner. And if you can't find one, or if that's too much of a nuisance, you order the test on my website. And we get a phlebotomist we tell you where the phlebotomists are in your zip code, and we send you the test kit. You go, you take it to the phlebotomist, they draw your blood, they send it to the lab, and then the test results come back. And then my team will evaluate the results for you. I'd much prefer that your doctor do it so they can learn about this, but if you don't have the doctor or the time, you can order it on my site.
Great. Awesome. So the blood test is one way to see what's going on in the brain. What about those brain scans? You hear like Dr. Amen has his center and people go in and they see what's going on in the brain. How does that fit into all of this?
Dr. Amen is world-renowned as the go-to guy about SPECT scans. SPECT scans look at blood flow into the brain and what areas of the brain are not getting enough blood flow. Critically valuable concept, because you look at the studies on autistic kids that have the same behavior, they keep doing the same thing over and over again. They have a lack of blood flow into the exact same area of the brain, all of them. Autistic kids that the cleaning lady just wanted to come in. So I should
Thought you
have.
had a new move.
Little brain cleaning.
Autistic kids that don't speak have the same area of their brains not getting enough blood flow. It's called hypoperfusion, lack of blood flow. And SPECT scans identify where all that is. And so that's a marker for you. Okay, your brain's not working really well. Here's why. It's not getting enough blood. You know, cross your legs for 3 hours. Stand up and run. You can't. Give your kid toast for breakfast. And if they have a sensitivity to wheat and it manifests as hypoperfusion in the brain, which it does for 73% of people with a sensitivity to wheat, they go to school, they can't learn. Their legs are crossed, their brain's crossed. There's not enough blood getting into the brain. It's just basic 101 when you think about it, but most doctors don't think about that kind of thing. So Dr. Amen's tests are incredibly valuable, incredibly valuable. They're a bit more expensive, and so that's not a first go-to in my world. In his world it is. So I'd rather see people do blood tests to see, what does your immune system say going on right now? Does your immune system say you've got too much mercury or too much phthalates or too much bisphenol A? Oh, I've got too much bisphenol A. My immune, because everybody's got bisphenol A now in their urine. Everybody, all over the world. I'm not exaggerating, everyone. So it's a waste of time and money to say, do I have bisphenol A? Well, of course you do. Everybody does. But does your immune system say you've crossed the line and you've got too much? That's the problem. And that's when you address bisphenol. Oh, I've got too much bisphenol A. What do I do? Detox. Get that stuff out and find out where's it coming from. Well, I drink bottled water. I try to drink healthy water. Yeah, but it's coming in a plastic bottle. That's where your BPA may be coming from, a large portion of it.
So can you repeat the name of that test one more time for our listeners in case they want to get the blood test?
Oh, the blood test is called the Neural Zoomer Plus. There's 2 tests I would recommend. The first one is called the Wheat Zoomer because it looks at your sensitivity. It's the most accurate test in the world right now for looking for sensitivity to wheat. And it also tests for intestinal permeability, the most comprehensive test for leaky gut. And that's all on the Wheat Zoomer. So I would do the Wheat Zoomer and the Neural Zoomer Plus together. But this laboratory is so aggressive at wanting to get this information out to the world, they're undercutting all the other labs, in pricing. So they've got packages, because there's, I think, 10 Zoomers now. There's a dairy Zoomer and a corn Zoomer and a lectin Zoomer. So you can do a bunch of them. And if you did them all, I think the cost for all of them is about $1,200, but usually it's $3,900. So they're taking over $2,000 off if people get them all, because they know it's a tremendous amount of information, but the doctors are going to learn. So the lab's being aggressive in their marketing right now to try to get this information out.
So you're teaching practitioners this information, right? Don't you have a program where you teach?
That's correct. That's correct. Last night, I'm here in Seattle right now, and last night spoke at the Sound Functional Medicine Group, the oldest functional medicine study group in the world. They were here long before the functional forums began. It's a great group, and I'm really grateful. It's standing room only and all that, so it was great. And they were just, what? And now I've got to talk in a little while, and then at 4 o'clock I fly to Tucson, and tomorrow I'm doing an 8-hour day for the National Association of Nutrition Professionals, all about wheat and autoimmunity. So yeah, I travel a lot and I teach this.
Oh, I'll see you there tomorrow in Tucson.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, I'm speaking on Saturday morning.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I know that you have a special gift for our audience today. Can you tell them about it?
I'm not sure. I'm joking. It's anti-inflammatory and brain-boosting staples. And I think the title of it is Autoimmunity Brain Boosting Essentials. And it's
put a link to that in the show notes.
Yeah, thank you. It's things that everybody should have a little like windowsill that they're growing spices on. Like you grow a little basil, you grow a little oregano and parsley. And as you start doing that, you start saying, oh, I just look forward to having a little bit of that parsley, because it's just, see, the concept is base hits win the ball game. Base hits, not home runs. So it's all the little things you do that'll make the difference.
Like that.
Yeah, I love that. And I know that you have to run. We know that you're a busy fella and you got a lot on your plate, literally. So where can our listeners go to learn more about you?
Oh, thank you. It's thedr.com, thedoctor.com. Just don't spell the word doctor out. Thedr.com.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for all of your guidance and your wisdom. And we're looking forward to reading your book and having everyone get the insight that they need to fix their brains.
Oh, thank you. And thank you all for the work that you guys are doing. You know, the whole world that listens to you and the information you bring out, it's so critically important. I'll tell you one more concept, one more.
Yeah.
Because this is really important. 1984, a microbiologist in Australia wrote a paper and said, you know, I think that sometimes ulcers are caused by a bacteria. And the whole world said, what kind of a nutcase are you? Everybody knows ulcers are caused by too much acid in the stomach, so you have to take the proton pump inhibitors, the PPIs, and take your Malox. Everybody knows that. And he was ostracized. So what did he do? He did an endoscopy, put a tube down his throat, took pictures of the healthy pink tissue of his stomach, drank a beaker of the bacteria called Helicobacter pylori, a whole beaker of it. Waited until he was as sick as could be, a couple of weeks, then did another endoscopy, took pictures of his ulcerated stomach. Then he took the antibiotics to kill the bacteria, waited another couple of weeks, took endoscopy again and pictures of the healthy pink tissue of his stomach, and then he published it. Then everyone knew he was a nutcase. Everyone, right? But he proved that sometimes bacteria can cause ulcers. The World Health Organization thought this is critically important. They sent announcements out to every medical society in the world. Pick up on this. This is really important. Why? Because stomach cancer, the #1 cancer in the world, stomach cancer, is caused by Helicobacter infections. And so if people have upset stomachs, you think you have an ulcer, you check for Helicobacter and get rid of
Wasn't
it.
there a book about those cells? Like a famous,
I don't know. I don't know if
yeah,
there's a
that
book written
famous
about
book.
it.
I'll think of the name. Those
But,
cells came from a woman and they went all over the place to do this
oh,
great
yeah.
research.
Yeah. 21 years later, Barry Marshall wins the Nobel Prize in medicine. And the Nobel Committee, in physiology. And the Nobel Committee said, this is the exact quote, who with tenacity and a prepared mind challenged prevailing dogma. Now, the prevailing dogma today is 1 out of 3 elders is dying with dementia. That's current. That's the dogma. The way we live our lives is producing that result. What's tenacity? Tenacity is 1 hour a week, every week. You allocate just a little bit of time, and everybody can do this, 1 hour a week. I'm going to learn a little more. Tenacity and a prepared mind. I'm going to learn a little more. I'm going to listen to this show every week, or I'm going to read this book, or I'm going to do ... But every week, 1 hour. And in 6 months, you've got this down and you're protecting your body and your family's body. That's the only way that I can see to be successful with the overwhelming amount of data that's out there now.
Good advice.
Okay, with all that, thank you all so very much.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much for
Dr.
joining
Tom.
us.
You bet, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, you guys. Well, I want to hear what you think about today's topic. But first, for all of you listening, we do send out a very simple email each week, just announcing our newest episode. No selling, nothing like that. So if you would like that reminder to come to your inbox, so you can put in the time every week, like Dr. Tom was telling us, go to healthyviewshow.com, put yourself on our list. We have lots of great shows coming up and we want to tell you about them. But as for today, Lisa, what hit you the most about what Dr. Tom was talking about?
Actually a lot, I have to be honest. I had never really heard the term phthalates. Did I
What?
say that correctly?
Phthalates?
Phthalates, yeah, I don't know why. That just has not come up on my radar. So I'm guessing if I haven't, then there's a lot of other people. Don't be so shocked.
I'm
guessing
shocked.
there's a lot,
I
a
think,
lot
didn't
of,
we have a show on this at one
I
point?
don't think so. That word just seemed like, well, whatever it
Well,
is,
it's
it felt unfamiliar.
PHAL, right? You may be thinking TH, it's actually PH.
Whatever it is, I'm sure I've heard it before, but I've heard it in a new way today, and so I think that that's something that I really want to pay more attention to in my products. And that led to those tests. And I think that that's really, really interesting about finding out what is going on in your body, because this stuff can be so overwhelming and scary that you can try to do everything and you can't, but targeting in what is your particular body need, that sounds really interesting and exciting to me.
What about you,
And
Andrea?
my thoughts are that Lisa's totally going to die.
Thanks a lot. Gee, thanks.
She's using the stuff on her fingernails that has the phthalates in it and all the plastic stuff.
Oh, please. I'm doing okay. I'm not so bad.
How about the lipstick? What about the lipstick?
Why not?
Is it a natural one? Which way are you going?
I think it's Clinique. I'm going to be honest. But there's no fragrance.
But it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
You don't
I
even
know.
think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
until you do, and then you can't stop thinking about it. And then
Yeah.
you have to spend $300 replacing all of the plastic in your kitchen, all the Tupperware containers with something else. I mean, just
It's a lot.
I've been hacking away at it over time. It takes time.
Yeah,
Same.
it's overwhelming. So like, there's a lot that we can do because we live in a toxic environment. There's no doubt about it. We cannot actually get away from the toxins because they're everywhere. They're in the water, they're in the air, they're in the soil, they're everywhere. And the only thing that we can do is minimize our exposure as often as possible. Like even if you have the plastic still, because he talked about, don't put the chicken into the plastic and then put it into but if you let the chicken come to room temp, right? Because it's the heat that actually releases the plasticizers and the phthalates from the plastic itself. So you don't take that plastic and heat it ever or put anything hot in it ever. Because people think they get overwhelmed. Oh my God, I got to throw everything out. What am I going to do? I mean, so you do the best that you can with what you have and make the small changes like Michelle is doing now. Change over to glass. Use different types of containers. There's a lot, and it can be overwhelming, and it can traumatize people, right? That there's so much out there that is toxic to us as human beings. We're the most toxic things on the planet, by the way, because toxins accumulate up the food chain. So we are at the top of the food chain. I like Dr. Tom. He's very sciencey, very nerdy, very geeky. Love him. I'm going to see him over the weekend at the NANP Nutritional Association, National Association Nutrition Professionals, and he's always got good content.
Totally.
He's an anti-wheat girl guy. So I'm a wheat girl, but I don't have a sensitivity. so I'm glad that he said people with a sensitivity.
You might need to do the wheat zoomer to find out for sure.
Well, actually, if I eat too much wheat, I feel it. Like if I'll have pizza and then I'll go and I'll have a sandwich somewhere and then I'll go and I'll have noodles, I'll start to feel the congestion. So I think getting to know your body also, because you could spend so much money on all of those tests. You now $3,000, $5,000 on testing. But I think it's also wise to listen to your body and see what it says.
Totally.
So I don't know. Did I give an answer at all, or did I just ramble on endlessly?
Well,
You said I'm going to die. That wasn't very nice.
That's right. Lisa's done. There's no more Lisa on the Healthy View.
Wow.
I'll outlive you all.
The thing about this topic is that it's kind of rambling because it's like not just one thing that's affecting our brain health. It's all the things, right? It's the wheat perhaps. Oh, it's the plastics. Oh, it's the this. Oh, it's the that, which is like you were saying, it can feel really overwhelming. But in a way, isn't it better to think of it that way than just like I got unlucky or my loved one was unlucky and has dementia?
Yes.
To think, oh, we can play a role in this. There is something that's leading to this end result, and we can change that. So I always find it very empowering. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, I would just encourage you to try to flip the switch on that and think, oh no, now I am just very empowered, and get the book and read up on these things. And that's how you can make a big difference in not just your brain health, but your whole body health.
And eat your blueberries, for God's sakes.
And eat your blueberries.
Base hits win the game.
Between the tests and the blueberries, you definitely will go broke. So, gosh, blueberries are expensive.
Oh my God, they're $9 a pint here in the city. How is that possible?
Crazy.
It's crazy, crazy town. But hey, your brain health is worth it. And I just want to say to all of our listeners, if you found this episode valuable, please head over to iTunes, leave us a star rating and a written review so more people can find us and learn how much they have to spend on their organic blueberries. And we will see you all next time.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, everybody.